rights, there wouldn't be as big of a deal as it is for these members to, you've got you've got legislators that will resign their chairs, if there's even a threat that they might be in the minority. You know what I mean? It's just there's no power, there's no point. So I don't know. It's I find it interesting. I find it really cool, like just learning about this stuff. But it is kind of a downer once you get to how things are really ran.
You made me depressed, Dave.
I'm glad. So it's just it's fun, but it's definitely not something that you want to go in thinking it's going to be the best system in the world.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about getting back onto election coverage? What do you think about this Sarah Palin as being having more executive experience than Obama? I never asked you about that. I want to know what you thought about that.
All right. Well, I don't know how the Alaskan government is really ran, but people are making the distinction between her and Obama because they basically have the same experience, and the only difference is that Obama's at the top of his ticket. And what I've been trying to say, and let me first say, is that I honestly don't know who I'm going to vote for, which is really hard for someone like me to say, but it's a very I like both candidates basically, and when I hear people kind of blindly following one candidate, mainly Barack Obama, and they think it's kind of dumb if anyone would vote the other way, I just have to ask, well, isn't it kind of all right for people to be a little afraid of someone that has so little experience, But at the same time, I think there is a good reason and a good need for, I guess you could say, an outsider coming into Washington.
Well, I wanted to ask you about executive experience.
Okay, so
what is this? What is this executive? See, when I hear executive, being from the business world myself, when I hear executive experience, I'm like, okay, so she ran a company.
Basically, that's what.
I like. What is that? I mean, does this count? I mean, what are they talking about?
The governor runs a state, so it's kind of like a company, but it's a very dysfunctional company. It's a very
So it basically just means she runs things, whereas a senator doesn't run things; they vote on things.
Yeah, they
correct?
vote and they make the laws. So the governor the governor proposes. They sort of make legislation, and what they do is that they'll go to like the head of the committee, the head of this the House and the Senate, and say, hey, look, I want you to propose these. Basically that's their job. Their job's also to develop a budget. They help they propose a budget, and then so they're heavily involved in that process. They have to balance a budget, that kind of deal. So when it comes to that way, to the extent of my knowledge, that is what the executive experience would be. They also have a lot more decisions to make. Like look at national disasters. A lot of people look at the governor to decide what's going to happen, what's going to go on. They delegate power. They are kind of like the president in some ways, where they're the figurehead.
Okay.
So that's I guess what you could say. And the problem is that and I want.
Now here's my question for you then. Wait, wouldn't that mean she has more executive experience than McCain then, technically?
Yeah. Technically speaking, sure.
So it's really a non-issue because you can't really say that Sarah Palin has more experience than McCain, who's been.
Well, my argument is simply that McCain's been in the game for about 30 plus years, while Obama hasn't. So I think McCain obviously understands more of how the presidency works at an executive level than Palin. I think Palin has more of an understanding how to run things though than Obama. So I think it works on that end. I think the argument is I don't think there is an argument when people say that. Well, that would mean that McCain has less experience. No, that's totally not what they're saying. So.
Well, it kind of. I mean, I'm not saying less experience. It seems to me that they're using it as just sort of
such a generalization.
A counterattack.
That's such a generalization, though. That's not even going into why they're saying that she would have more executive experience than Obama. Because Obama.
Well, I think they're using it as a counterattack because they were putting Obama up as having no experience, and they hired someone who basically has the same experience as Obama.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, she has more executive experience, so it's better.
Yeah. which is
now to me, I think the whole experience issue at this point is I don't know, I don't even really care that much. To me, it's all about the policies.
Yeah.
The meat. What's the meat? Yeah. And that's going to come out, like you kept saying, that's really going to come out in the debates.
Yeah, we're going to see.
However, I did watch Barack Obama on Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a pretty good job. I think Bill O'Reilly seemed to be fairly impressed with him as well. So
yeah,
when they had a pretty up strong economic talk. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely see who, you know, you can only say the beautiful thing, and I love the conventions. I think they're terrific.
I think they're ridiculous.
I think it's awesome. It's because they're giant pep rallies. You got people screaming, yeah! You know, you got the crazy there. You got the fireworks going on.
It's ridiculous, and I think it's ultimately meaningless.
Oh,
because nobody talks policy. Nobody talks anything.
It's
just get around.
Base riled up. It's nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, what infuriates me is that it means nothing, but in reality it does mean something because it means people are going to. They're going to get pepped up by McCain's talks. They're going to say, I'm going to vote for him now, for 50%, you know? Which is where it's like, well, you haven't seen anything, you haven't heard anything, you don't know anything at this point. But it gives complete ammunition for the media and the news reporters and all this, you know, stupid polling that's going on.
I mean, watch the DNC.
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it.
No, that's my point. I'm going to agree with you there. I mean, if you look at the DNC convention, especially when Barack Obama spoke in front of 80,000 plus people, every time the camera panned to the audience, there was a woman crying. And I'm not saying woman as in a woman crying. I'm saying I should say a person was crying. You know, if you want to be a little PC about it.
Yeah.
But I don't.
I do.
But, yeah, it's crazy because he went up there and said nothing. You know, like nothing with substance. Okay. And that's the point of these conventions. Yeah, it's kind of insane. They spend all that money just to go up there and kind of, you know, say their talking points. But really what we're going to get down to, and we're going to find out a lot of the information, is from the debates. And there's not.
But I mean, the sad thing that's also kind of frustrates me about these conventions is it just shows me, when you look at the polling afterwards, it just shows you how many people just kind of vote for people based on nothing, really.
Well, no, it's
you know, on like nothing of consequence.
And a lot of people vote on single bit, you know, like just a single issue, like abortion.
Yeah, which is a non-issue.
Which is we were
because the president has no power over that anyway. Because even if the Supreme Court president did get this, first they had to go to the Supreme Court, and what the president could do is elect a Supreme Court justice, and then if they did overturn Roe v. Wade, then all it would do is go back to the state level. So the president couldn't get rid of. You know, it's a non-issue. The president can't touch it.
Yeah,
you know?
we were talking about this before coming on to the air. We were saying how, and my argument has slowly become more and more from what I've learned is that the president, in a lot of ways, is a figurehead in a lot of different ways. I mean,
and the thing is, just getting back on abortion, I don't think either president would really do anything with it anyway because there's even Republicans, there's a large majority that are pro-choice. I was going to say pro-abortion, but it doesn't sound right for some reason. So I don't think they're going to alienate that either. So I think it's just kind of a talking point, and I don't think anything's going to happen.
Definitely. I mean, you got a lot of people worried over nothing because it's Roe v. Wade is not going to be turned around. It's not going to be overturned.
Even though apparently Roe.
Oh, she's pro-life.
Or Wade. She's now against it.
Wade
is funny.
Is pro-life now because she ended up having the kid because the trial took. But I mean, regardless on the abortion issue, because that is such a freaking touchy subject with a lot of people.
Yep.
No, I had a professor.
Be getting comments on our YouTube post.
Wait, what?
So we'll be getting comments on this when I post on YouTube about the abortion.
But it's funny because with I had a professor back in college who really put it right to me. He to the class. He was talking about the president. He was talking about like basically how people get so excited over these people running and like for example Barack Obama who just has these people that are literally blindly following this guy, and they think that once and it's not just him, it's also McCain, but they think when these people get in office, it's going to...
And now Sarah Palin. So there's a whole cult behind her.
Yeah, exactly, and we don't know why.
I know. It's like you said. It's like you don't know who the hell this person is.
Yeah, but my point was that people are going to think, oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be morning in America, and all these things are going to happen. But